All right, another type of organic compounds are what we call cycloalkanes. Cycloalkanes are just cyclo means a circle, like we said before, and alkene, we're dealing with single bonds. You can have cycloalkenes, you can have cycloalkynes, but if you know the way you name them, then you just follow the rules. So you follow everything exactly the same as what we've done with alkanes. The only difference is two things. One, you put a cyclo out front. So instead of hexane, you would say cyclohexane, or instead of pentane, you say cyclopentane. And then the other thing is you can choose where you start numbering if you need to. So if you have something, if you have something hanging off, you have the choice of how you want to number it. So if we look at a couple of these are real simple, but if we look at this first one, we have 1, 2, 3 carbons in a ring. So you look up your thing, and if you look up number 3, you're at prop. So instead of just being propane, this guy is called cyclopropane. And if you look down here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 carbons, and they're in a ring. So you look up 4, which is bute. And again, instead of calling it butane, you call it cyclobutane. What I think is interesting is 1 and 2, they exist naturally on Earth, but they're very reactive because if you think about it, these are very sharp angles, and it makes them very unstable. So these are actually quite explosive and not something you'd find commonly on your own. Number 3 here is one where we're getting a little bit bigger here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 carbons. So I'm just going to say LC for longest chain. This is going to be cyclopentane. And then we do have some things hanging off here. We have a methyl and a methyl. Now, the only thing we have to be careful of is where do we number it from. And we can choose. We just want to make sure that we have them numbering the lowest possible. So because it's our choice, I don't really care which one I start with, but I'm going to make one of these my number 1 carbon because I want them to have the lowest number as possible. So I'm just going to make sure I number so that they get the lowest number. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put it all together. So we have a 1,3 dimethyl cyclopentane. So the only thing that's really different here is that, again, we have the choice of where we number, and we want to make sure that we have a cyclo in front of our longest chain. And the last one down here, this one you just have to be aware of because this is one where our ring is not actually the most important. It's not the biggest thing we have here. So if we look at this and we're looking for our longest chain is just a straight chain of carbons. And if we type that out, that means our longest chain is pentane. And then what these become the things that hang off. And we would still want to number it. And if you look here, most of the things are on the left. So we're going to start numbering from the left. So we have a cyclopropyl, we have a cyclopropyl, and we have an ethyl. So we're going to do our alphabetically. Cyclopropyl is first. So that's going to, when we type in our name, that's going to be first. So we have a 2 cyclopropyl. We have a 3 ethyl. And then our longest chain is a pentane. So again, remember, when you have more than one type, you have to do it alphabetically, not based on any prefixes like di, tri, that kind of stuff. Excuse me. I'm back from my phone call. It was good. So sorry about that. Just make sure alphabetically cyclopropyl is before ethyl. And then again, in this one was slightly different because the cyclo wasn't the most important thing.